Most of us are trying to run away from suffering while chasing happiness, comfort, and pleasure. That's how we're wired, right? Running away from failure, chasing success, running away from poverty, chasing prosperity, running away from illness, chasing health, running away from insecurity and chasing security. But maybe that wiring isn't natural, best, or even something that you have to live with, that you can just never change. And maybe the true purpose of life is to transform suffering as fuel to create something positive like creativity, happiness, fulfillment, joy. It's a different orientation to life that changes everything. And maybe you already have that orientation, or maybe you eventually get yourself there after a bit of suffering. Many of us do. I find most of us need constant reminders to do this. Hi, I'm Carla Rieger, and this is the Golden Age Timeline podcast. So in the novel Heliotropus is the notion of sana versus sim. And that is somewhat equivalent to maybe good versus evil, but actually is more specific and personal than that. Sana, S-A-N-A, is like sanity, wholeness, natural, organic, soulful, heart, mind connected, alignment with the true self. That state of being that many of us chase, right? Whereas sim, which is short for simulated reality in the book, a computer program gone awry, is the opposite. It's like insanity, brokenness, unnaturalness, inorganic, soulless, or this mind-heart split that causes suffering that we're trying to run away from. And the fight between good and evil, or in this context between sana and sim, is part of the game, part of the human condition, if you really think about it. We're always going up and down on that spectrum, trying to find the balance. Because if life were all one and not the other, it wouldn't really work, at least not in the reality playground we're living in. Like if life were purely sana, all good and wonderful, no learning or understanding would probably occur. There would be endless life, endless creativity, increasing into oneness, unity, and harmony on into eternity, a kind of formless bliss. Nothing wrong with that. But if everything is always good, there is often stagnation. And if life was purely sim, all bad and suffering, then again, no learning or understanding would likely occur. There would just be death, destruction, decreasing until you end up in full dissolution. So it's the interplay of both that forms the basis of creativity, growth, learning, understanding. And one is fuel for the other. And in this case, I posit that sim, or suffering, is fuel, is a tool for learning and growth, without which there would be formless beingness, but no contrast, no adventure to go on. Now, I like to put concepts like this in novel form, story form, because I find people get concepts better when in the context of a story rather than told using logical argument alone. In other words, it's a sana-based way of sharing ideas, whereas just logical nonfiction type explanations are more of a sim-based way of sharing ideas. If it's just all concepts. Many nonfiction books also include examples and case studies and stories, so I'm not talking about that, but you know how you read or hear something that's just all concepts and it's really hard to absorb, right? So in story form, people can try on the ideas because they enter into the story in a personalized way. And that way they see, feel, hear, sense the idea in a fuller, more contextualized way. And this allows them to better assess whether the idea works for them or not. So how do we turn the suffering state caused by sim into fuel for growth, to paradoxically build a life more full of the principles of sana, or wholeness? It's certainly not by resisting sim, resisting suffering, but by embracing it, exploring it, learning from it, in order to process it into fuel for growth. Not to get stuck in there, because certainly there are people who get stuck in suffering. They live to suffer. I've certainly gone through periods of time in my life where when I look back, I think, wow, I was kind of addicted to suffering and drama in that part of my life, right? And I'm sure you know people like that. So it's not about getting stuck in either, but using both as the kind of contrasting elements within a laboratory beaker to create alchemical change, right? And there's an old saying that physical pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Now, most of us were never actually taught about thoughts, thinking, interpretations, meanings we give to things, beliefs, and the resulting decisions and actions we take because of all that thinking. There's a myth that our thoughts are somehow out of our control. That's because many of them are looping like software programs in our subconscious mind below our awareness. But once you learn how to delete, upgrade, and change your own internal thought systems, you have a freedom that few people get to experience. Not only that, but you now have the power to create the life you want. This is a huge differentiator between the people who are creating extraordinary things in the world and the people who are struggling and limiting themselves. So it's a secret that, luckily, more and more are knowing about, which is a turning point in human history. And perhaps that's because of the internet, of all the self-learning people do now, or because it's an idea whose time has come. We're ready for it. We've graduated the game, and now it's time to play a different game. The new game, I believe, is where you operate the extraordinary consciousness technology within you at a whole new level. And really, it's about how to identify the limiting beliefs, the mind stories or patterns of thinking that have been holding you back, and to give yourself permission to make new decisions, new mind stories, and step powerfully into the role of game creator instead of just the user. As I've said before, the brain is a goal-achieving machine, and that's why we offer the neural blueprints, for example, at Mind Story Academy, because they act as a mental rehearsal tool helping you to create images, sounds, feelings, and experiences of the future you want, whereby you create future memories, but organized in story form so that your subconscious uptakes it. If you just give yourself a phrase like an affirmation, one visual, for example, it doesn't always stick. If it's organized in a whole story with a certain structure, that's when your timeline changes and you create the life of your choosing. Now, I'm not suggesting you can just envision the life you want and poof, it just happens. It requires a lot of repetition to overlay the habits you may have had going on for decades, and ensuring it's on purpose with the true self, with the higher self, and includes massive inspired action on your part. Then, of course, life will inevitably test your resolve by giving you several challenges, forcing you to learn and be innovative before you reach your goal. Because if it was all just handed to you on a platter, you wouldn't grow. So whether you want extraordinary health or amazing relationships, or to make a huge impact in the world with your gifts, talents, and experience, or to create a massively successful business, or to have an extraordinary bank account, whatever deeply drives you, I believe it's meant to be. If it's coming from the true self and isn't just programmed from the media to keep you on a hamster wheel of wanting something that doesn't actually serve you in the world in the truest sense. But the game is to get this consciousness technology, these mindsets, these mind stories working for you instead of against you. And as you interact in a world that's changing rapidly, in alarming ways at times, the only thing you can control is how you respond, how you turn adversity into something good for you, for others, for the world in general. We're all being tested right now to either rise to our greatest potential so that we don't succumb to the lower motivations that are all too easy when the world is falling apart around you. But if you're armed with this new capacity, which is the power of decision, to choose your own interpretations, to use your intention, the power of your intention and attention, then you have a kind of personal power you didn't have before, right? It's the opposite of living by a limiting mind story that holds back the potential of who you're meant to be. So I want to introduce a simple framework that can make this easy to do as you face those big and small decisions throughout your day. And it's this, and you may have heard it before, but it's kind of a thing we all need reminders about regularly. There are basically just two states of being, really just two emotional being states that we get into. And one we'll call the aligned state of being, and the other we'll call the suffering state of being. And this ties directly into the power of emotionally powered decisions that I've talked about in other episodes. So what is an aligned state of being? Well, it's when you're being calm, excited, joyful, curious, compassionate, centered. Those are the natural states of the true self, the deeper, wiser self that I believe we are here to uncover and live from. Pretty much everything that feels good is an aligned state of being. On the other hand, a suffering state of being is like stress, anxiety, overwhelm, negativity, right? It can also look like jealousy, envy, not feeling good enough, not liking the present moment, resisting it, judging yourself and others. So we all seem to cycle back and forth between the aligned state of being and the suffering state of being. And when you're in the suffering state of being, you're living by the limiting beliefs, the limiting mind stories, and negative interpretations, right? There's a pattern of thinking that's taking place that's not serving you well in your life, but you're doing it anyways. The magic comes when you become aware that you're in the suffering state, that you're looking at life through the limiting mind stories, and when you identify them and realize they are just decisions you made and that you can make new decisions. In that process of making new decisions, you are the story creator instead of just the story consumer. It literally changes how your brain operates, which completely transforms your life if you let it. And this is the science of creation. So if you're going through your day and notice yourself cursing or fretting or complaining, chances are you're in the suffering state. So here's the trick. No judgment of yourself around this. I know that can be hard, but the irony is that just reinforces the suffering state. It's not like the good people of the world live in an aligned state all the time and the bad people live in the suffering state all the time. Or that there's something wrong with you because you're stressed or anxious or overwhelmed or complaining. If you can access that place of the neutral, compassionate witness within, that's the key. It's where you just acknowledge, accept, have empathy for this state, almost like soothing a small child who has awoken from a nightmare. You wouldn't criticize a child for having a nightmare. You would just give them some love and understanding, which changes them from suffering to alignment so they can see that it's all just a dream. And they awaken out of the bad movie playing in their mind. So that's what you do with yourself. Then you tend to remember how, heck, you can't really create powerfully from a suffering state of being, and that to truly create what you want, you do need to switch over to the aligned state of being. Because when you're in the suffering state, you're not creative, you're not inspired, you don't have vital energy, you're not intuitive, you don't have access to this extraordinary reservoir of intelligence, the infinite intelligence that you could have access to. You basically cut yourself off from your power. And so again, if you want to have a powerful living experience, what you need to do is become aware of when you have moved into suffering and therefore cut yourself off from all this power and creativity, and nurture yourself in that place. Be kind to yourself, process any emotions that need to be processed, learn from whatever you need to learn, and then you can become fertile ground for changing that state. And that's when you can move back into the aligned state of being, because that's where the power and purpose is. That's where your creativity, inspiration, intuition, connection, presence to life, and the ability to see deeply into things, to see brilliant ideas and solutions you couldn't see before, reside. Now, you're never in both states of being at the same time. So you're either in suffering or aligned. And by the way, the suffering state is always going to show up. That's just because it's a program mechanism within the human collective story. But the more of us who learn to over and over again transform that, we're not only helping ourselves, but we're also helping humanity as a whole. So one of the things I want you to think about right now is, how much time do you spend in the suffering state on a daily basis? So if you were to look at your average day and you were to add up all the times that you were stressed or anxious or overwhelmed or not feeling good enough or feeling like there wasn't enough time or not enough money or feeling guilty for not doing something or thinking you should do something or you shouldn't do something or some negative complaining, something's not right state, how much time do you spend there? Of course, I still get into suffering states now, but I don't stay there very long anymore. But I remember in my 20s, I used to live in that state most of the time. I just had to read my journal from then and remember these week-long fights I used to have with my boyfriend, or remember how much I needed a drink just to feel good for a few minutes. I especially liked to wake up in the morning and worry. I would lay in bed and feel overwhelmed, not knowing how I was going to get all the things done that I thought I needed to get done in the day. I used to think this was a necessary form of self-inflicted pain I needed to go through in order to be productive that day. If I let myself be aligned, relaxed, happy, calm, then I thought I would just waste the day away staring at the trees. But that was a myth. That relaxed, happy, calm state makes me more productive. I see that now, so make sure I get into that first thing in the morning. So, of course, many of my clients do the same with the morning worry, and I help them with that a lot. I can even catch myself doing it from time to time, and that's why I have many tools to trick my mind and to trick my clients' minds out of that state in the wee hours of the morning. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't spend that much time in the suffering state. I mean, I'm productive. I'm not huddled in a corner freaking out. You know, I'm working on computer. I'm communicating with people. But what's going on in the background? Different people have different tells that they are looping in a negative way below the surface. Some people have a tight jaw, tight shoulders, sore back, clenched stomach, indigestion, or they get impatient over little things. They sweat the small stuff, or get obsessive over something silly, or keep needing to eat when they're not hungry, or have more coffee or other kinds of mind-altering substances, or scroll more on social media, or watch more shows to just get an escape from the suffering state for even a few minutes. Those all might be signs you are being run by the suffering state. Again, no judgment, but just know it's a choice you made, and you can choose something else anytime you want. So I want you to come up with a number. How many hours a day do you spend in suffering? Say 1 hour, 3, 5 hours, 12 hours, every waking hour of your day, where it's kind of an underlying frequency throughout your day. And that's true for a lot of people, by the way. There are devices now that kind of measure your brainwave states, and you can see that a lot of people are agitated a lot of the time. They're in that survival brain trigger cycle. And a big reason I say to be kind to yourself about this is because otherwise you just won't admit it. You won't admit that you're in the suffering state quite often. And if you can't admit it, you can't change it. You'll live in self-delusion for another 10 years until some kind of wake-up call happens. So it doesn't need to be like that. You can wake up, do your own wake-up call when you choose, and that makes it much easier on yourself. But the reason I want you to see how much time you spend in suffering state is because if you multiply that by the number of days in the year, say 365 days, it can be quite a shock to look at. So if you're spending 3 hours a day in suffering, which by the way is a lot less than most people, you're spending over 1,000 hours a year disconnecting from your power, not using your time efficiently, not tapping into your genius, not living in your true potential. And the reason why I want you to see this is because I want you to become fully committed to and convinced of the fact that the number one thing that's preventing you from having the life you really want, and perhaps creating the type of business you really want, is this habitual suffering state. This mind story that you need to suffer when actually you don't. Suffering is optional. One of the misconceptions I see a lot in the personal growth world is that the suffering state will go away if you will yourself, beat yourself up enough, force yourself to meditate more, journal more, do more exercise, all of which ironically come from the suffering state. You can't put out a fire with gasoline. Another way we try to change the suffering state from the suffering state is when people think they're not successful because you don't know how to do something in particular yet, or they don't have clarity on their purpose, or they need a team of people to help them. It's like, I need a good project manager, or to be better at the public speaking thing, or learn that social media strategy, or get a different business model, or a more specified niche. Of course, all those can help, but really none of those things will ultimately help if you're living a lot of your time from this suffering state. Because if you could be living those 1,000 hours or 10,000 hours from the aligned state instead of the suffering state, think of what you would gain back every year. The natural clarity, the discovery of your passion, how you'd easily attract the team, the supporters, the clients, the success that you need. You'd figure out how to do all the things that you need to do because you wouldn't be in your own way. You wouldn't take no for an answer if you knew your offer was the right thing for someone. You wouldn't waste those precious moments when you first wake up in the morning worrying, imagining what you don't want. And I remember I was working with someone who had just given an online presentation. There's that old adage, remember, there are 4 presentations that you give. The one you planned, the one you actually did, the one you wished you did, and the one your listeners actually experienced. 4 totally different presentations. In fact, if you have 100 listeners, then that would be 103 different presentations because it's all in the perception. And this particular client I worked with, as soon as she woke up from this suffering state she would put herself in when it came to giving online presentations, and she switched out of that, she just let the presentation be what it is in the moment. And generally people love to listen to someone who is in an aligned state. I mean, just your state of being when you present to a group is 90% of your success rate. You can say all the best things in the world, but if you're doing it from a suffering state, people know it, they feel it, and they leave your presentation just feeling more reinforced in their suffering state. So it's huge. It's a huge part of everything you do, from growing a business to communicating with people about your business. Because I always remember this client I had who chose the aligned state a lot more than most people. And someone messaged him about his presentation saying, "You're no good. This was a waste of my time." And what was interesting was he experienced no suffering in that. He didn't go into the suffering state. He realized it's just that person's experience. Now he chose to reach out to get more details to see what specifically the person objected to in case there was something he could improve. And this seemed to change his critic's state of mind because he wasn't defensive but curious. And she ended up looking more closely at why she had this visceral response to his presentation and couldn't come up with anything concrete. And finally she joked, "It must be that you look a lot like my ex-husband." So our aligned states can create more alignment and insight for others. So it's a huge freedom to see that there is no stress, anxiety, or overwhelm in the world, and that I'm the creator of it. And if I'm the creator of it, I can also be the eliminator of it. So suffering is separate from the experiences you have in life. And many of us know that intellectually, but I think we all need to be reminded of that every time we go back into a suffering state. So here's a quick practice to help you switch out of the suffering state. Of course, there's that old adage that physical pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You cannot avoid pain, even if you are physically healthy now. At some point, you may get sick, you may get hurt, and of course, we all age and our physicality changes over time. So pain is inevitable and it will come, and there's nothing you can do to prevent it. Yet whether or not you suffer is another matter. Why is it that one woman, say, can go through childbirth claiming it was the most painful experience in her life, while another declares it was the most transcendent? Along with other conditions, including the ease of delivery, the answer might lie in how they relate to the pain. So clearly, sensory experiences are different, but how we relate to them, big or small, plays a powerful role in any experience we have in our life. So suppose we define pain as the pure physical sensation of the body responding to some kind of stimuli. And suffering is our opinion and interpretation about the pain. From a mindfulness perspective, it's important to differentiate pain and suffering because however unavoidable pain is, we certainly have some leeway when it comes to suffering. So you can do this just as you're sitting, listening, or even walking, listening. So just think of a pain somewhere in your body. It could be tension somewhere in your body or emotional pain that you might feel in your heart or your belly. Whatever comes to mind first, just take a few breaths and allow yourself to connect with the fact that your body is just there, sitting or standing or walking or lying down and noticing the pain. And notice your posture and body shape. Now find a part of your body that is not in pain and bring your attention there. So find a part that feels pleasant or neutral at the very least. So it could be your hands or your feet or your thighs, where it feels neutral or pleasant. Now let your attention stay at the pleasant area, the neutral area, for a few moments. Now bring your attention to the area of pain. What do you notice? Is the pain sharp? Dull? Is it a pressure? Is it a constriction? Is it a throbbing? Maybe see if you can find a metaphor, like it's like sandpaper or like wearing a corset, or it's burning or stabbing or fiery or clenching. By naming it like this, you're moving out of the survival brain trigger cycle around it. You're going into this neutral place, this neutral, compassionate witness more easily. So keep staying there. Notice, is it moving or does it stay in one place? Does it start in one place and affect another place in your body? How deeply does it go into your body? Is it something on the surface? Is it something deep inside? So just get curious, like you're a scientist looking at this pain in this body. So after a few seconds of doing that, bring your attention back to the pleasant or neutral area and notice what that's like. Is there a sense of relaxation, calm, peace, quiet, warmth, ease? And again, you're just naming it, You're not giving any interpretation to either area of the body. You're just noticing it. So we're really pulling you into the neocortex part of the brain when you do this. So now notice if you have an opinion about the pain, an attitude, an interpretation about it. Do you hate it? Do you fear it? Do you resent it? Do you blame yourself for it? Do you give like a reason for it? And do you notice anything that's adding on to the pain? Like a resistance to it. Like there's the pain and then there's how much you don't like it. So that can be an extra clenching, a pushing away. And just notice this reaction. And again, don't judge it, just breathe and just notice yourself resisting it. There's nothing wrong with that reaction. It's kind of normal. Now, it may be that you don't have any resistance to it or any reaction to it, and that's fine too. So just investigate whether you do or whether you don't. And notice if there's anything going on with the pleasant or neutral area. Do you have an opinion about that, an attitude towards it, an explanation for it, where you're happy about it? Now, for the last time, return to the painful area. What do you notice? Breathe. Feel whatever is present on the physical level. Offer yourself a little bit of kindness right now in a way that makes sense to you. You can imagine holding that part of your body with care and compassion, and maybe just say to yourself, it's okay that I have this pain or this tension, and that it's okay that I have a resistance to it. Just allow it to be there, like soothing a child who is upset, who had a nightmare. It's okay. It's okay. You're allowed to feel all these emotions and all this tension and all this pain. It's okay that it's all there. You don't need to make it go away. It doesn't need to be different. You're still an okay and worthwhile person, even though it's there. And now notice what happens. Does anything shift with the pain level? Often that shift into a state of compassion and permission can have an effect, sometimes a big effect, on the pain. And to just lock that in with a metaphor, imagine one of those old radio dials where you'd tune it into different stations. So the suffering state is one radio station and the aligned state is another. So see yourself turn the dial onto the aligned state and lock it in there. Good. Now you can do that anytime with any pain or tension. Just truly feel the love, compassion, understanding, even if just for a microsecond, it can be truly transformational. So for more resources like this, you can get a copy of our popular book, Mind Story Inner Coach. And when you get the book, you get 2 free neuro blueprint audios designed to train your brain to really integrate these 2 aspects of self to create something new, to create transformation and growth. So see the link in the show notes below to get a copy of the book, or just go to the website mindstoryacademy.com. And when you get the book, as I said, you also get access to download free guided audios, 2 of them that are examples of some of the leading edge tools we developed at Mind Story Coaching Academy that are called Neuro Blueprints. And one is called How to End Self-Sabotage. And the other is called Your Hero's Journey. And normally the audios in the book come to $94, but you can get them all now for only $7. And you can also get them using crypto or PayPal or a regular debit or credit card. And to get a copy of the novel Heliotropus, a sci-fi fantasy exploring a world where the characters go on an adventure into both worlds of Sim and Sana as they evolve. It's won 4 book awards and hit bestseller in time travel fiction. Just see the link in the show notes below, or just go to goldenagetimeline.com. Okay, that's it for today. I hope it was useful. Do hit like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Until next time, thank you for listening.